Namaste. Why does your self-worth break during emotional isolation and tension between somebody that you know and yourself? Here are some generalized quotes from people that I've known across my life, including emails that I get, patients, and friends and family members. When a situation goes wrong, imagine that 1 second, that 5 seconds where you think that you could have said something different, that 1 minute where you should have entered at a different time. Just think about that. Think about that one conversation on the phone that you probably should have handled a little bit differently. And then you're not compassionate to yourself, you're not empathetic to yourself, and you're saying things like, "Am I respectable?" Imagine that. Does that mean that you don't respect yourself? Am I respectable? Am I competent? You have the situation that occurs. You feel you've done everything right. You've written things down before you even entered the situation, and you're asking yourself, are you competent? Are you good enough? Are you good enough? Are people going to like you later? Are you going to like yourself later? Did you set a boundary with yourself properly? Did you set a boundary with that other person properly? Something happened between you and a coworker, you and a partner, you and a friend, you and somebody you work with, you and somebody you live with. And you're asking yourself, am I safe? Am I able to say what's on my mind? Or is somebody going to retaliate? Sometimes what people's identities are: apologetic, over-explaining, over-correcting, people-pleasing, self-blaming, being uncomfortable around somebody, being compliant, and then being hyper-vigilant. Am I going to say something wrong? Am I going to be able to live with myself later? Should I say something? I think I need to. But you know what? Maybe it'll just blow over. Maybe I am in the wrong. They're in the wrong, but they're never going to learn. What happens is, in this situation that you thought about, where you didn't really have compassion for yourself, you didn't have empathy for yourself, what happens is that event triggers the amygdala. From the amygdala, there are signals that are sent to the adrenal cortex where cortisol is increased. You've heard of this, right? And what happens is that when cortisol is increased, you get stressed out. And then from the amygdala, the sympathetic nervous system is activated. That's where it goes to the adrenal medulla and releases epinephrine, norepinephrine, and adrenaline, where you're like, I have a lot of adrenaline right now. Fight or flight. Heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, and then you want to be able to quiet this down. And that's where dopamine comes in. I'm stressed out, let me eat some ice cream. This happened, I'm going to have a drink. This happened, it's wine o'clock. This happened, I'm going to go hang out with my friends to forget about it and let it go. That's where the ACEs Your Life with Mind Hygiene frameworks comes in, where you can access the prefrontal cortex and make the hits a little bit less on the amygdala. You'll find a link in the description to the Mind Hygiene Guide, which is supported by medical evidence, including therapies such as acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy, rational emotive behavioral therapy, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and of course, my life experiences. And you'll find a study also with the link in the description as well. And what this shows is that when you have a mission, vision, purpose, when you have a clear outline of what your neurospiritual software is, what is your neurospiritual operating system? Are you the type of person that's stressed out, increased cortisol, try to fix it with dopamine, eating bad, gaining weight, high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke? Or are you going to be the person that accepts it so much and understands it so much, where I talked about ACEs Your Life with Mind Hygiene, which is accept your awareness, C, communicate your compassion, E, embrace your empathy, and S, soften the process. Something happened with somebody that you know, accept it. Be compassionate, write it down. Be empathetic, understand that you may need to alchemize this. What does that mean? You may need to turn it into purpose. It may never get better. Soften the process. Have you done something like this before? Don't perceive it as something hard, because if it is, then you may not ever approach it. And what happens is that, in my personal opinion, and in the Mind Hygiene study, what we found was that following these people over a period of a few months, they reduced their anxiety levels by 70%. Now, this is subjective. We didn't use PHQ-9 and GAD-7 scores. And you don't need Mind Hygiene. You can use any writing technique. And when you do accept your awareness, be compassionate, empathetic, and soften the process, you'll be able to label these emotions, slow down the cognition, reduce the firing of the amygdala, reduce eating bad, the dopamine hits, or drinking, or whatever it looks like. And what happens when you do these things, you lower your blood pressure, you lower your heart rate, you have a reduced risk of heart attack and stroke, reduced risk of gaining weight, of feeling bad about yourself and not respecting yourself. Because when you write something down, you feel a lot better. And the more you do it, the better it gets. Think about Mind Hygiene like going to a gym. You're not going to be able to gain a bunch of muscle in the first day at the gym. You got to keep on going, and then you got to eat healthy. That's one thing I tell my patients all the time, is that, look, there's no way in heck you're going to ever get in good shape if you don't focus on your diet 100%. I mean, 5%, 7%, you're going to experience some benefit by just working out a lot. You can ask a lot of coaches, a lot of athletes who will say that 90, 95% of what you do in the gym is diet. And that could take several years. If you see my before and after pictures, I was overweight for so many years. And what I had to do is I had to dial in high protein, low to no carb, no sugar, no fried snacks, no fatty food, except for the occasional burger, and I might have bread a few times a year now. I don't eat any sugar, and I stopped eating fried snacks about 6 weeks ago. And I don't know what's going to happen with that. I hope I can get back to it. Sugar is something I'm terrified of, because I knew that when something like this would happen, right? Of course, I have my pets to help me too. And here's my kitty. That's a Jay. And then there's Suwarna. And, when I would get into situations, this is something important to bring up, is when I would get in these types of situations, I would be like, all right, fine, no problem. Let's go get some gummy bears. Let's go get some Starburst. We're going to call Lowrider Cookie. We're going to maybe get some crumble cookies. Let's have some cheesecake just in case. Oh, let's not forget the tres leches cake. And this is not like minimizing it. I have pictures of eating all of these things. But as I would have a situation happen and I would think about getting this, I would feel better right away. So what happens is that when you take away these dopamine hits, then what you're doing is you just have to, what people call face it. I just say accept it, which is the biggest power move, right? Is to accept it. And when you do actually come to the point where you didn't do anything wrong, there's nothing else that you can do. That's where you surrender, consecrate, play neurobiologic jujitsu, and to be in a neurospiritual sovereign state, emotional freedom state. You just have to keep on doing it and do all the things that you don't want to forward your health. Then what happens is that you form a new identity, identity that leads with empathy, that leads with compassion, that leads with understanding and self-respect. Now, it may not work all the time, but like I said, 70% is way better than feeling 0% all day long. If you found value in this video, please subscribe to the channel. By the way, my name is Dhruva MD, and I am a practicing board-certified family doctor. As I work through my little mini resentments, as I work through situations in my life, this is what saved my life, is making videos, content, speaking, and inspiring others to be on this journey of self-discovery, self-development, and emotional freedom by writing. And we will be dropping videos at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday. So tune in, hit the notification bell, drop a comment, like the video, and share it with somebody that may need to hear the message. And then what happens is that with your self-worth, during emotional tension, during emotional isolation, and during conflicts with other people, what happens is that your self-worth heightens, your self-respect increases, and your self-love will elevate. And that's because you know you have these tools that you can put in place, whether it's mine or somebody else's, it doesn't matter. But I would be, anybody can contest this, okay? If you're thinking, it's not good. If you're gonna write about it, it doesn't matter what technique you use, your self-worth will increase. Namaste.